Veggie burgers, black bean burgers, have a reputation. Mushy, bland, and barely held together. And honestly, sometimes I feel like they deserve it. And all of that is because most people are using their black beans straight from the can. So you're probably making a bean dip on a burger, not an actual burger. Dry them out first, and suddenly you have a burger that holds up really well. And I'm gonna show you just how to do that. Most veggie burgers fall apart because they use black beans straight from the can, and that's too wet, so it just crumbles on the grill. And so the first step and the best trick to getting a solid veggie burger is to make sure that you're prepping the black beans right. And then there's a series of tricks that we can use to make sure that you are getting the most juicy, flavorful, does not fall apart at the grill burger. We're gonna make some quinoa, which is important for being a binding agent. A lot of the times burgers tend to fall apart because you don't have something that's actually holding stuff together, and quinoa does a pretty good job of that. We first need to wash it though, so I'm gonna go wash it. Okay. We have washed and drained. I'm going to transfer it to a pot. It's already sticky. And then we're going to add some water. I like adding hot water to my quinoa because it speeds up the process a little bit of the cooking. Now we're going to get this cooked. So anyway, we're going to first open a can of black beans. We're going to rinse and drain it, and then I'm going to put it on a baking sheet, and I'm just going to pop it into a preheated oven, which is about 350 degrees right now. I was baking in it earlier, so it has some residual heat. The idea is to just, not to roast it, but just to get it dry enough that it doesn't have a ton of excess moisture in there. You want to rinse it until the water essentially runs clean, and then spread it on a sheet pan. No real science here, just get it spread out, and then I'm going to pop it in the oven. We'll get back to it once we have finished assembling all of the other ingredients. We're gonna cook the sweet potatoes. If you prefer boiling it, you can absolutely do that, but sometimes I just don't wanna get a whole pan out just to boil sweet potatoes, so I often use the microwave. In order to do that, I'm using about two sweet potatoes, one of which is really large and one of which is kind of medium, so about 1.5 pounds roughly if you are actually measuring by weight. The first thing we need to do is to kind of get this scrubbed underwater. I have already done most of that, and so now I'm just gonna grab a fork and kind of pierce the skin of the sweet potato in as many places as possible. This will allow all of the steam to escape when you actually pop it in the microwave. And we will be microwaving the sweet potato for about 5 minutes. I would probably check at the 5-minute mark and see and make sure that it's soft and fully cooked. This guy might need a few more minutes, but we'll see when we get there. Great way to take out all of the anger you might have. This is on a microwave safe plate, and I'm gonna get it into the microwave now. We will also need half an onion. So I am not cutting these onions super tiny because I'm just gonna toss them all into a food processor. But if you are making the patties by hand, I would definitely get them diced into as small pieces as possible so that it mixes in pretty well with the burger. So just crumble that in, 2 cloves of garlic. Now my nails can smell like garlic all day. The cooked quinoa from before, some quick cook oats. I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of chipotle sauce just for the flavor, but you can absolutely add more. Now for the spices, I am adding a bit of smoked paprika, oregano, ground cumin, a little dash of pepper, and some salt. So now we have everything here except for the two main ingredients for the burger, which are the black beans and the sweet potato. So I'm gonna check on the black beans now. Don't forget your oven mitts. It's looking pretty good. So if you can see here, most of the water has evaporated and the beans are looking a lot drier than they did before. So I'm just gonna pop this in. And now all we need are the sweet potatoes. Big guy did take a few more minutes than 5, but I think we're done. Safety rules apply, so make sure that you are wearing mittens. Yep, that's done. You're gonna have to give it a few seconds to cool down usually, and you can either use a peeler or you can kind of just pick apart the skin with your hand. Usually what I do is I just chop the sweet potato and I kind of open it up so I can scrape the flesh inside and throw it into the food processor versus trying to peel the whole thing, because that's just gonna get super messy. Start with this one. Oh yeah, that's definitely cooked. Do that. Straight down the middle, just open it up. You can see the steam rising from here. So now we're just gonna pulse this a few times until you start to see a patty form, and then we'll shape the patty. I'm gonna do it 2 ways. I'm gonna make the patties on a baking sheet, but then I'm gonna put some of them in the oven. All right, we are ready to pulse. Get this on here, this on here. I'm gonna use the pulse setting here instead of the full blend because I don't want it to become mushy. Give it a good pulse. But I also want all of the black beans to be fully mixed in, so that's what I'm watching for, that all of these different parts are mixed in together pretty well. This takes a couple of attempts, but I think we're getting very, very close. Actually, I think we're done. This is the texture you're looking for, where it's kind of like clumped together, but it's not mushy yet. Like there's still pieces of black bean you can see. There's still some oats you can see. I think this is in a really good spot where we can actually start forming the patties out of it. So you'll want to grab some of this, about a hand size, and you're done. You can make these smaller or bigger based on whatever you prefer. This is usually the size that I make, so it fits into the slider buns. This is all done now, and I'm just gonna pop it into a preheated oven at 425 and bake it for about 30 to 35 minutes. Ideally, you want this to get super golden brown. I will be flipping it about midway, so 15 to 20 minutes in, so that both sides can get an even browning. In it goes. Now we're gonna make the harissa yogurt sauce. And if you haven't had harissa before, it is basically a Moroccan red pepper paste. You can usually find this in the international aisle of your grocery store. And I swear I probably get like a bottle of this every time I go to the grocery store. We're gonna start out with a cup of yogurt. You can use Greek yogurt or you can use whole milk yogurt. It's totally up to you. Has a slightly different flavor profile depending on what you use. You want about 2 teaspoons of harissa. It's not inherently super spicy, but you might want to start off by using a little less if you are spice intolerant, or you can always add more if you want to take it up a notch. This sauce can either be made simply by whisking in a bowl, or you can actually blend it if you want something more creamy. I usually like blending it. I have these smaller containers that I use for that purpose, but it is not a necessity by any means. You can just whisk it and it tastes just as creamy. Then you'll need about a tablespoon of olive oil. That helps with blending the harissa more evenly through the Greek yogurt mixture. I usually add a tiny bit of garlic. Again, measure with your heart. And then we're gonna finish up here with some lemon juice. And then just pop a lid right on. It might squirt out a little bit. I think I clearly used a bowl that was too small.
A few moments ago.
Well, was that very visible? Let me just clean this up. Clearly used a bowl that was too small because I am planning to blend it later, but all you need to do is kind of tighten the lid and then you can shake it, or you can blend it, as it's up to you. And the infamous harissa yogurt sauce that has spilled everywhere on my counter so far is going back into the fridge. I usually like keeping it in the fridge because it helps kind of solidify a little bit so it gets into a more creamy texture before we put it on the burgers. And we're gonna assemble the world's best black bean burger. So you got Got some melty cheese, pepper jack on top of the black bean burger. You can already see it's super crispy. Nice chunky slice of tomato. Nice lettuce. And your harissa sauce. Be generous. This looks divine. It's a veggie burger, that's the main event. I would eat that all day, every day. And in fact, so would my husband.